Hey everybody, Tula here with Key Wellness, and today we're going to talk about the quantum field and how you interact with it in order to manifest your best life. Now, to recap what we went over in some of the prior videos in this series, the quantum field is not limited like we are limited within this 3D existence. It instead encompasses all things from all times and all places, all simultaneously. We also talked about how quanta is the tiniest packet of anything in existence, and it exists as energy within the quantum field with the potential to become anything in our 3D existence. You could think of quanta as the data set or the information, the blueprint from which everything is created. Quanta are energetic, the quantum field is energetic, and you are energetic as well. And we covered all of this in detail in the prior videos. It's this energetic relationship between you, the quantum field, and the quanta that makes it possible for you to manifest. Because you're energetic, you can energetically interact with the quantum field to impact the quanta and cause it to emerge into the 3D by creating a vibrational match that will then cause the waveform, which is the quanta, to slow and then collapse into particle form. This is in fact how everything in our 3D world is created. The only difference here is that instead of being unaware of what is happening, you become conscious of how this works and you actively participate in this process rather than letting it just happen by default, which is the way most people function on the planet. They have no idea that this happens. They have no idea about this process. And so the life they live is simply the default of this process. In order to change things to where you can co-create as the quanta is emerging into the 3D, you interject your intention. Remember, going back to the observer effect, your intention can affect how the quanta respond, and as a result, how and into what form of particle matter they emerge into the 3D. So how does this happen? Do you remember in the prior videos, and this is why it's so important that you watch the previous videos in this series, but if you remember, we talked about the way frequency and waveform interacts. And we also talked about the complementary waveforms where you have matching waveforms where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. This happens when you have an exact matching frequency. Now, exact is important here because remember about the flutter effect when it's a close match but not an exact match, and what you end up with is interference. Instead, what you have to do in order to get the quanta to be on the frequency of the very thing that you want it to become, you must emanate that frequency, that exact frequency, into the quantum field to get the quanta to vibrate at that exact matching frequency so that there won't be any interference and it will project into the 3D, into the exact particle matter that you desire. So how do you do that? I mean, there's not somebody running around with a book, the exact frequency for everything that ever was, is, and will be in existence. It's not like you can look that up. Oh, this is on frequency 42.7, so I need to vibrate at frequency 42.7. There's nothing like that, right? So how do you know what frequency to vibrate at? How do you know that you're going to emanate that exact frequency into the quantum field? There's not a measurement for that, so how in the world could you possibly know? Well, that's the interesting part. And actually, it's quite simple. Remember when we talked about how everything has its own unique frequency, and everything included not just tangible things in creation, but also the intangible, like the smell of something, or the feel of something, or an emotion, or a thought. Everything has its own unique frequency. And if you remember back in the video where I talked about this, I said, yes, even your thoughts and your emotions. And this is the part that makes this doable. Well, in theory, it's doable, but getting yourself to actually do this in a very disciplined manner is where most people fall apart in the manifesting process. But I'm going to tell you how it's done in theory, and then it takes a matter of finesse, practice, and oftentimes coaching to actually be able to put it into practice and get exactly what you want in your life. Now, before I get into the nuts and bolts, I want to reiterate something else that I talked about in prior videos, and that is limiting beliefs. This is where limiting beliefs will pull the rug out from under your feet. And why is that? Because a limiting belief is rooted in your subconscious. And whether you are consciously cognizant of it or not, you cannot override that. If that is stuck in your subconscious, it will cause you to vibrate because that is what is true to you. When I am working with people in hypnosis, we have a number of ways of getting the body to tell us what it truly believes. And when we find a limiting belief, then we're able to eradicate that limiting belief so that that is not creating a contrast or a conflict in your vibrational field. If you've got that, you're going to end up with that flutter effect. You're going to end up with interference or distortion. And this is what messes up your manifestation. You might either come close but no cigar, or you might have so much disturbance because there's such a dichotomy between your limiting belief and what it is that you want, that there is such a disconnect between what your conscious mind is saying you want and what your subconscious mind is actually emanating or vibrating or transmitting, that you send out a mess, and what you get back then is a mess. And a lot of people see that. They say, well, I started trying to manifest and all kinds of crazy things started happening. This is exactly why. You have got to clear your energetic field of any conflicting vibrations or frequencies. And conflicting vibrations and frequencies come from your thoughts and your emotions, whether they are conscious or subconscious. So I'm going to walk you through the nuts and bolts. But what I will say is, if you don't clean house, it won't work for you. It won't work. You might get a little luck here and there, but it will not work powerfully, and it will not work consistently, because you need to have control over your energetic field. And here's the challenge with that, is most people don't want to be honest with themselves. So most people, when they have a challenge, they have a limiting belief, they have something that is keeping them at the wrong frequency. They're harboring resentment. They're walking around angry. They're stewing over politics. Whatever it is that is keeping you from being at the exact vibration that you want to be at, which is likely a high vibration, because I don't know too many people walking around wanting something low vibration. Well, gee, I'm hoping I catch the flu next week. Okay, most people are wanting something that's at high vibration, but they're walking around at a low vibration, and that is not going to work. all they're going to do is attract more low vibration stuff. Then you've got the folks who try to fool themselves like they're going to fool the universe. Well, I'm just going to act happy, or I'm just going to be grateful while I'm sending out this intention. No, it's a magnet. You don't see a magnet that, oh, I'm just going to draw this to me, and it starts drawing it, and then its magnetic field goes away and the thing just keeps coming. No, that magnetic field needs to remain consistent. So it has to be who you are and how you are and how you live and where you live as far as an energetic level. You need to be living. You need to be the essence of that which you desire. And most people have it backward. Most people are like, I'll be at that vibration when I get it. And that's why they never get it. They're waiting for it to happen, and then they'll be at that vibration. No, you're the one with the consciousness. Those things out there that you want will obey your intention, your consciousness, but your intention that you set out, remember, everything is energy. So how is your intention communicated? It's communicated via energy. And what is energy? It is a vibration. So if you are sending out negative, low vibe, unhappy, miserable vibrations, that's what you're going to get back, because that's the language you're speaking. That's what you're attracting. That's your magnet. So you've got to clear out your field, and you can't lie to yourself. You cannot lie to yourself in this process. And this is why a lot of people, they want a quickie. They want, oh, give me the quick magic. I want to know how to go get a brand new Corvette. Or after you get into this far enough, you realize that those things don't make you happy, and they stop being the things you want. But let's just go back to that example for a minute. These people want these things, and already the fact that they're lusting after something shows the vibration that they're at. Whereas if you learn to just woo away life, things just flow to you with ease because you're at that vibration of all the good things that there are to be had. So with that disclaimer, and one other disclaimer, most people are not ready to do the shadow work on their own. They are not ready to clear out the skeletons in their closet on their own. They think they are, but many of these things are in the subconscious, and this is why they can't manifest. It really is, and a lot of people say, oh, you're just trying to make money. Well, you know what? If you believe in your ability to manifest, then you'll invest in yourself. And you'll invest in a good coach who will help you get there. Otherwise, you're banging your head against the wall. And guess what? That's very frustrating for your coach as well. But if you honestly want to learn how to do this and attain this and do these things for yourself, then you will work with someone who will be honest with you and know how to do the shadow work and know how to help you clear out your energetic field. Okay, so let's get on with the nuts and bolts. Where we left off, before all of my qualifications, was that we were talking about how do you know you're at the right vibration? How do you know you're emanating the frequency for the thing that it is you want to draw to yourself? And I said that it would be easy. It's actually common sense. But the problem is having the discipline to get yourself to be able to do it. And we talked about what you needed to clear out so that you're not sending mixed messages into the quantum. Provided you've taken care of that, you've done your shadow work, you've cleared your energetic field, now you can send out a clean transmission. Now the quantum field will understand very clearly what it is you're sending out, and it's physics from here on out, folks. It's physics. That's why we had all of the videos before this one, so that you could know once you get to this point, it's just physics. It's just electromagnetism. It's just frequency matching frequency. There is no magic. There is no bowing down. There is no pleading to the, you don't need it. It's this easy. Be it, and you will have it. Be it, and you shall have it. This is where the magic of Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, where the rubber hits the road. This is where, what Einstein said, everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. And as Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. The universe follows universal laws, and quantum physics is at the base of those universal laws. It can't break its own laws. It's you that were not following the laws, which is why I broke them down for you. And it's taken me 5 videos to do it because I want you to be able to live your best life ever. So now we know the secret is match the frequency. But the question is how? That's the thing that everybody wants to know. How? What do I actually do? What do I actually do or say or think? That's the part no one ever tells me. That's the part I really need to know. Just give me the goods. Well, here they are. I'm going to give them to ya. If the color red wanted to be blue, what would the color red have to do to become blue? It's not a trick question. You know the answer right now, right? If you've listened to all these videos, you know exactly what the color red needs to do to become the color blue, don't you? So you should be sitting there thinking it needs to change its frequency. It needs to go from that low, slower frequency, and it needs to be a higher frequency. And when it vibrates at the higher frequency, it will become blue. That's the only difference between red and blue, right? Is their frequencies. Red being slower, blue being faster, red being lower, blue being higher. You, my dear, are no different. Here's how it works for you. Let's say you are a person that does not own their own home. Okay? That's where you're at. On the frequency spectrum, you are at the spectrum or the frequency of a person who does not own their own home. Now, like the color red that wanted to become the color blue, you want to become a person who owns their own home. Now, a person who does not own their own home is at one frequency, and a person who does own their own home is at a different frequency. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Let's just take the emotional aspect of someone who owns their own home and they're happy with their home. They love their home. I have this home, okay? But they didn't always own that home. And a few years before, when they didn't own the home, they were a different person. They were at a different frequency. They were frustrated because they wanted to own a home, but they didn't. And so therefore, they were at a different frequency, right? Now they're vibrating differently because, hey, they got that home. So now you're the person they used to be. You're at the frequency of the person who doesn't own their home. You're at the frequency of a person who is wanting for something. You're at the frequency for someone who's maybe frustrated, maybe discouraged, maybe unhappy or disgruntled, but whatever it is, you're not at the frequency you want to be at because you want to be at the frequency, whatever the heck that frequency is, of the person that owns a home. So you know what you have to do? You have to be like the color red that wanted to become the color blue. Don't wait to get your home. You will never get it if you keep vibrating at that red lower frequency. You will never get that home if you keep vibrating at the frequency of a person who doesn't own a home. You, and only you can do this, must put yourself at the frequency of the person you being the person who owns a home. Anybody who is stuck in the 3D paradigm, who thinks that the physical, tangible world that they are able to perceive through those tiny slivers of our 5 senses, they think that's the sum total of their reality, they will remain stuck there. Because they don't understand this isn't about what's tangible right there. That person's arguing with me right now going, how am I supposed to be a person who owns a home when I don't? Well, you'll go in circles forever, my friend, if that's the way you're thinking. Instead, you have to put yourself at the frequency of a person that owns a home. You will be vibrating then at that frequency. And what did Albert Einstein say? Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. And that is exactly how it works. So how in the world do you do that? Because most people don't have the discipline to master their thoughts and their emotions. And this is the difference between people who manifest and people who don't. And it is not just your conscious thoughts and emotions. It is your subconscious ones. So if you grew up in a home where maybe your parents always wanted to own a home, but they just could never get there, you might be running around with a false belief that you're not meant to ever own a home. So you're going to be vibrating that. Whether you want to or not, you're going to be vibrating that. And you can say, oh, I want this. Oh, I'm thinking it. Oh, till the cows come home, you're not going to own a home. You have to really put yourself on the frequency of what you would be, who you would be, how you would be once you own a home. So how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, I hate to say this, but I have gone past the 20-minute mark, and that is going to have to be in my next video. But I've given you a lot today, and I want you to mull this over and think on it, and think about who you would be and how you would feel and what you would think and do and say if you were the person that owned the home, or you were the person who had that thing you wish to attain. Think about that, and I'll work on the next video, and we'll see you here soon. This is Tula, wishing you your greatest desires and manifestation with great success. Have a great day.